Sup everyone, welcome back to another video. Here we are once again on the live stream. We've been having fun trying out the Abyss. Barely was able to get the 36 star, aged gamer here. But if I can do it, so can you. And on the discussion of Abyss and meta, we have to talk about Tartaglia. So I don't know why you clicked on this video, but hopefully it is to kind of get a better understanding for Tartaglia. I'm not out here claiming I'm some sort of Tartaglia guru or main, but it doesn't take an expert gamer to really understand Tartaglia. I think a lot of people would argue that he's one of the more complex characters, and he's definitely one that embodies the saying of like high risk, high reward. But it's very, very difficult. I can understand if you're a newer player or a player that don't enjoy sophisticated gameplay. I'm not like talking down on people. It's okay if you like a clean and straightforward kit with a character design where you just unga bunga like Ito, right? Ito is a great character. Click burst, click your E, hold down Tartaglia. Nothing complex about that, right? And it's okay to enjoy that, but Tartaglia isn't that kind of character. It's not like you go into Tartaglia, press E, auto attack until like his E runs out, because if you do that, then you'll be using Tartaglia's elemental skill once every minute and a half, was it, or something? It's something crazy, because Tartaglia is so punishing when you don't play him the way he's designed to be played. Now, I do like to always promote the idea like you can play this game however you want, man. Like you want to build Pyro Tartaglia, like sure, but my point here is some characters you can get away with playing them inefficiently because like they're kits. For example, Ito, like sure, if you mess up here and there, like he's still gonna do similar amount of damage, right? You're not gonna be heavily punished for not playing Ito fully efficiently. But Tartaglia, if you don't play him efficiently, I would say you miss out on a good like 60-70% of his damage potential, because Tartaglia is essentially designed to play in like quick bursts of elemental skill and in quick swap scenarios and teams. One of his more traditional teams is the what's it, we guys call it, like Tartaglia International Tartaglia, Mr. Worldwide, whatever you guys want to call it, where he plays around with his pyro synergies and he just vapes, right? And at the same time, would you say Tartaglia is like the damage carry of that team? Not really, because Tartaglia isn't a hyper carry, at least before C6, and even after C6 is just making it much easier to continuously rotate to Tartaglia being on field as a damage dealer. Like you basically lift one restriction, which is his elemental skill. But for the most part, his playstyle doesn't change. Even at C6, it just makes the conditions of using him much easier, right? Team-wise, he's still the same teams. And right now, there's people going around telling others saying Tartaglia is outdated. And while this statement in of itself, right, you can say whatever you want, you can believe in whatever you want, but when you are telling newer players or players who are on the fence about picking up Tartaglia or investing into this character that, oh, he's outdated, he's not good, damage rise, he falls off, he can't carry teams, you are riding on a line that what I like to call is misleading or just straight up lying. You're capping, because Tartaglia as a character, I think out of all the characters released, he's definitely one of the top 5 characters that has stayed relatively consistent with almost every patch. Like Tartaglia users can attest to this, because if you've invested into Tartaglia since 1.1, there's very few abysses. Like there are ones, for example, the ones where second half was all Hydro units, sure, like those kind of scenarios, like why bother running Tartaglia? Obviously you can run him in the first half, but it's not like he's omnipotent everywhere. So there are scenarios and times when Tartaglia was just not a good fit into clearing content. But apart from that, his team and compositions has stayed very competitive and relevant. Sure, he's not like top of the chart like Kazuha every patch 70+% usage rate, but he's hovering around like that 20%, sometimes even 30% usage rate. And that is because of the core design for this character. The quick swap philosophy means that it doesn't rely solely on Tartaglia to deal damage, and I think that's one of his strengths. In fact, a lot of people say like, oh, like his elemental skill, switch out of a long cooldown, I can't use him. But at the end of the day, that's just people playing him inefficiently and trying to force him to be something that he is not, right? Ideally, right now, I want to say Tartaglia is in a good spot because he's so international. From the lore, you know, Tartaglia has been to like all these nations, all these, like he's always involved in the story. But really, if you look at his teams and his compositions, he is involved and he could be involved in a lot of different scenarios. And being Hydro, one of the best elements in the game right now, makes him incredibly efficient at just pairing with a lot of different units. So let's just push meta aside. Yes, he has a few meta teams. I would say like 2 to 3 currently right now, and that's plenty for certain characters. Like Hu Tao has one. Hu Tao just has that one team, but someone like Tartaglia has like 3 different teams that you can run him in. It's like all very efficient, maybe even 4 if you want to stretch with a freeze team in there. But being a character that synergizes so well with so many different characters and so many different teams should speaks volume to how versatile he is. Meaning that if you ever get bored with one team, running Tartaglia can get you similar damage output with different teammates. And one would think nowadays with modern characters being released that it's very hard to find synergistic pairings for a character that was released back in 1.1, but that's simply not true. With Nahida coming out, it has only lifted Tartaglia even higher up. Now, yes, Nahida is kind of not a fair comparison because she synergizes with everyone. Like you can even get away with synergizing Nahida in a pure Geo team. I know it's very copium, probably shouldn't do that. I'm not advising it. I'm just using it as an example. But nonetheless, right, some characters just work better with Nahida than others, such as Kaching, such as Nilu, and Tartaglia is one of those characters that synergizes quite well with Nahida, and he is a very, very good benefactor from Nahida's EM buffing as well. Like that EM buffing, it's very relevant to most teams that Nahida's in, but in the case of Tartaglia, I'm just telling you, Tartaglia at one point had a comp where he was used as a burst DPS. You basically swap into Tartaglia, use his burst, and get like a huge vape hit. Like you can get up to the millions. Like I remember seeing that, and I even tried it myself, although my artifact wasn't. But beside the point, you build him triple EM on his sand cup and headpiece, and he was just nuking enemies, just like one-shotting them with vape. So having Nahida on your team, like Tartaglia is definitely a huge benefactor from that EM buffing because he, you know, it fits into his kit and playstyle. He can flex into 3 different roles. He can be an on-field DPS driver, meaning and in a quick swap team is what most people would play him in. He could be coming in as a support DPS, meaning like he is also in a quick swap team and he comes in for like 8 to 10 seconds at a time to fill downtime for DPS who also has CV. And then you can play him like the third role I was mentioning as a burst DPS. Now, the burst DPS one hasn't really been very meta, but now with Nahida, you can definitely slot him into that position and he's going to be amazing. Now, at the end of the day, am I saying, yes, he's the best character in the game, better than Yamiko, better than... No, he's not, but it's disingenuous to people when you are saying a character like Tartaglia is outdated, he's bad, he's not as good, you know, compared to modern units. I think that's just simply not true. A lot of people would like to compare him to Ayato. Now, I do think Ayato has his strength and Tartaglia has his strength, but even comparing him to, right, Ayato, it's very hard to say Tartaglia doesn't measure up to Ayato's performance or efficiency. Versatility, I think Tartaglia even wins. So my point here is, if you ask some random dude and you place Ayato and Tartaglia one-on-one and say, which one do you think is the more modern character? Which one do you think was released later? Which one do you think had more thought put into their kit? I think most people would choose Tartaglia. I think people would like to think Tartaglia is a newer unit just because of how complex his kit actually is and how much limitations you have. And I think in a way, some people do find that fun and enjoyable to work around. But it is what it is, people. There will always be those who want to put down older characters or characters that they themselves don't enjoy playing or they find to be not as efficient or not as fluid. I personally find Tartaglia's playstyle to be quite charming, very indicative of his character trait. But you are always entitled to your own opinions. Just make sure to double check with other people and check your sources. And also, don't take people's words at face value, including mine. Like Tartaglia might eventually fall out of the meta, but at least right now. He is still very much relevant, a strong character, even at C0. That's the key point. Tartaglia was released during a time where Constellations 1 and 2 were not as big of a deal. If you look at characters like Ito, Constellation 1 and 2 makes Ito much more comfortable to play, but Tartaglia could really care less about his C1, C2, C3, C4, even C6. That's the beauty of these older characters, because back in the day, Hoyoverse hasn't figured out, wow, if I just put high value constellations at C1 or C2, I can bait people to pull an extra constellation of these characters. Tartaglia doesn't care. None of those issues. Such a great character overall. I think he has a well-designed kit. One of the better ones actually designed to date. So if you do want a Tartaglia, don't let those people saying he's bad or outdated stop you. Pull him and enjoy him. But do remember to put in the time to learn him and to play towards his strength and not try to overcompensate for his weaknesses, because at the end of the day, that's just going to waste a lot of resources and time for you, and he's not going to really shine like the way he's supposed to be. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, thanks chat for being here, supporting me. We bouncing ideas back and forth. If you want to come join us right here on YouTube live stream 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Wednesdays and Saturdays every week. All right, so till next time, urge y'all to stay safe. Peace, bye.